We are here for our monthly CSD board meeting. I will go ahead and get us started by reading the instructions on how to make public comment during the meeting. And points in the meeting, the meeting should request a comment. Members of the public shall be engaged in the speak. All public comments shall be addressed to board members, board directors, and limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The board director may choose to respond to comments or requests. Staff to respond to at the conclusion of the public comment period. I'm sorry, I'm bad at reading a lot of things. Before we go ahead and call to order, before I just want to remind everybody that we are all here. We all care about the community, we all care about the district, and I would like us all to treat each other with respect and decorum, and hopefully move on from what happened last month and just treat everybody with respect they deserve. All right, when we do a call to order, we don't have to do attendance, and let's see, go to the agenda. Is there any changes there that you need us to make? Is there any changes that anybody on board needs us to make? Go ahead, Sarah, would you like to comment on the agenda?
Yes, but before I start, I appreciate your request for decorum, and I think the proper approach would be an apology before moving on and papering over what happened last month, which was erased from the official record illegally, I presume by staff. But if there was simply an acknowledgement of anything we want, if, on the other hand, there's an attempt to bury it, then I think it's going to come up again and again and again. Now, as far as the agenda is concerned, I did make a request last month that we talk about the encroachments into Marinwood Park. It was not placed on the agenda. However, we were invited to speak and challenge my belief that encroachments don't belong in the park. That also is against the rules of public meetings. You're not supposed to invent stuff and put it on the agenda, but keep it out of the public notice. So I don't know what we can do to make sure that there's an actual democracy and integrity in this community. But I think it falls on each and every one of us. So my request is that we discuss the matter of encroachment in the proper form.
Thank you for your comment. May I ask if you are recording with yourself?
I am recording with myself.
That is fine. Next time, please let me know ahead of time, because
This is a public meeting.
it is a public meeting,
Aware.
and I know that being recorded up there, but it would be, as we talked about, decorum and everybody respect. It is a respectful thing to let me know that you are personally recording. Thank you for your comment. I'm going to move on now.
Public
Thank
notice
you.
will be made.
We are going to adopt this agenda as it is, and we are going to move on to the consent calendar. We are going to look at the draft minutes of the regular meeting from last month and the bills paid. Does anybody from the board have any questions about anything that's being seen in the minutes? All right. Is there any questions with regard to that? Go ahead.
Once again, there's obfuscation of facts. Not only have you erased videotape and audio tape of the meetings, you cannot describe what actually occurred. And if I can remind you, I was told to shut up and the meeting was stopped. Okay? Now that isn't polite. It's not decorum. But it is also not productive. Okay? And so if you're going to pretend like you're Queen of Spades and whatever, you're in charge of the world here, and not actually recognize the fact that there is public discourse and dialogue and civility, and work towards that objective, there's not going to be any peace in this meeting. Okay?
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Bill paid 7504 was contract, case plan, capital expense. Those are the movies.
I was budget expense.
Okay, was in the capital budget?
Yes.
For budget expense.
Great, thank you.
All right, motion, thank you. Second. All those in favor of passing the consent calendar? Aye. Motion passes. All right, we're moving on to item D, public comment open time for items not on the agenda. Speakers may comment only on non-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the district. The board may not take action on, consider, or debate items not on the agenda, except under the order circumstances meeting such request. Response to comments on non-agenda items will be limited to factual information or clarify questions with staff or board at the conclusion of the public comment period. The president may refer the matter to staff for future meeting agendas. All right. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. First of all, hi, Jeff. It'll see you for a couple minutes. So last month, I started off talking about integrity of the park, integrity of the district, and within a few short minutes, people who had received my letter, but mysteriously showed up to argue my points, obviously were informed ahead of time. It was completely unethical. I certainly didn't want, was not targeting them, but I did want to discuss the integrity issue of our parks. It ended up, as we say, when I responded back to their attacks, I was told to shut up by Bill Shea, and I have not received an apology. I haven't received an apology from anyone. You actually gave the staff a raise last time, and I just wonder, now since each one of you are appointed, who are you actually serving? Are you serving the purpose of our community? Are you serving democracy? Are you serving the betterment of our community? Now, Bill just turned 72, and in 8 years he'll be 80, and he's a healthy guy, and I know he takes care of himself. But the point we'd like to make is we're all aging, and if we are going to continue to ignore our elderly population needs of, say, park benches for them to sit down, then we are really degrading the quality of this community. We're not just a summer camp and a pool. We are everybody who lives here, and there's 6,000 people who live here. If you're going to allow encroachments in our community, then I'm going to ask that you also accept the idea of a public donation of park benches, specifically for the purpose of people who are mobility impaired. In other words, these would be that fulfill the guidelines, they have arms and stuff like that. But I'd like to, I've been talking about this for years. You guys refuse it. It's ridiculous because all I'm talking about is $50,000. Seemingly, it's a us against them proposition when I would hope that we'd all be focused on the community. I'm sure Bill will never need a park bench, but maybe he will. I'll probably need a park bench, and probably each one of you will need a park bench to sit on. I I ask that you consider this proposal, accept it, and if park benches start appearing in park, they not be removed, and instruct the staff not to remove them. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, for your comment. And any donations should be talked to the district manager. Any in writing what you are hoping to do would probably be the best idea. All right.
It would be an
It's
encroachment,
not
just
agenda
like
item, so I'm
gratification,
moving on.
just
We're
like
moving on to
gratification.
district matters. We're specifically looking at number 1, the financial year 2022-2023 year-end profit and loss financial statement. Sorry, would you like to? Thank you. I'm sorry for overlooking you. Again, we're moving on to district matters, specifically item number 1. Eric, did you have a statement you wanted to give us about the audit?
Sure. I'm going to give you guys a pretty,
Do not allow editing of public videos.
pretty detailed staff report in here.
Yeah.
So as you can see, we're still trending the same way we've been trending for the last several fiscal years. I just kind of highlighted a few things. I'm not going to read this all word for word, but just in terms of operating revenue. So what we're looking at here, this is our operating budget. So this is, everything that you guys approved kind of in. Everything you approved last May. It does not include the capital work that was done with the finalization of the maintenance facility, because that was never part of the operating budget. That was a separate capital project. But I do give you information about that farther down here from an operating perspective. Again, this is all pre-audit, and I do know that there's a couple of other adjustments that we're just waiting for final figures on, but we basically exceeded our revenue exceeded expenses by about 1.9 million this year for the year, compared to what we projected, which was a budgeted net gain of about 414,000. One of the big things there, obviously, ad valorem tax revenue exceeded our forecast by a little over $213,000. And it should also be noted that not reflected in these, but we did defer approximately $137,750 in recreation revenue to next fiscal year, meaning basically on July 1, that shows up on those books for next fiscal year. And that represents money received in 22-23 for programs that do not occur until 23-24. So, yeah, we will state before that's applied to a year which we burn. In regards to the maintenance facility, to the exterior courtyards, which also included the pedestrian pathway, adjacent landscaping, as well as a exterior storage shed that was placed inside one, we expended a total of $539,468 during the fiscal year on that project. $106,669 is allocated from available measure A, and the remaining $432,799 came from our general fund. We also continue the practice of contributing $100,000 into our OPEB trust. So when you look at everything, you compare it towards point in time last year, our cash balance in the district's general fund was approximately $8.29 million. That's an increase of about $750,000 from June 30 of 2022. And just a little note there to put that into context, our entire operating expenditure budget for this fiscal year is about $6.52 million. So we are doing well from a cash balance perspective now at this point. Of course, we still have other things, and we'll talk about FEMA later.
Yes, just a few things already said. Are there any questions or comments for Eric on this pre-audit statement?
Nope, thanks for a lot of the details.
I like where it's going, that's for sure.
Last year was a good year. I certainly would point towards our staff on the rec side with Luke and Robin, and just being very judicious about how they spend and keeping an eye on revenue and making sure we get it in. And on the fire side, they've been very good about expenditures needed and things like that too. So I mean, it really comes down to everything here.
And good staff, you guys hired some great staff, so we can have amazing camps and amazing lessons that people want to come back and take this classes. I appreciate you breaking down the details. I appreciate the very detailed statement that you have here. I know that there's something in the public probably has other questions that I'm going to never come up with. So I'm going to ask Jeff if he has anything else.
Just a couple. So when the financial audit is complete, we'll have a much better understanding of where our long-term debt stands. We do not now in this report, but do you have an idea how the long-term debt is trending?
It's interesting you should ask that, Jeff, because just yesterday they published all of the most recent CalPERS valuations.
To my surprise.
I wonder if that's right here. Yes.
Well, no, but we do have somebody who has helped to analyze those reports, and I reached out to that same person and sent that same person all 5 of the recent reports and said, hey, if you're just looking for something to do and you would like to take a crack at updating this, then you are welcome to. Not to put anybody on the spot, because they may or may not be sitting in the room right now.
And we may or may not love their information.
But anyway, so once we have that 1/3 idea, the GASB 75 report, I can tell you, GASB 75 actually has to deal with our OPEB. That has gone down from a long-term liability standpoint by roughly $300,000 from what it was last year, and that's actually going to change a little bit more because we've had some people come off of our retirement roll who are no longer collecting retiree health. So. Not under the retirement roll, yeah. So I assume when they take the census for next year, which will be effective as of June 30, 2023, you'll see that some levels of differences there too. So at any rate, to Jeff's point, those also get stated in our audited financials. With this done, and once we're able to fully close the books, we got to wait on those couple other things. We'll start all of the reconcile process, get the audit engaged, and my goal this year is really to have the audit completed by end of calendar year. Next question.
Yes, so I understand that FEMA approval for the issue that we have over here in the pool is not guaranteed, and there is a risk, and I do not know how much that is, but it brings up a question. Are there any other large capital expenditures that you're looking at in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years?
How about the next 2 then?
I don't know about the next 2. I would say the next big capital expenditure that we're looking at, I mean, obviously we've got the playground coming up, that's going to be a couple $100,000, that's 80% funded, and that's happening this current year. The one big one that kind of sticks out, there's 2. One is going to be a necessity, and one is a different type of project. At some point, we're going to have to do something about the pool. That's going to be a large. That's going to be a large project, and we have earth issues over there as well, so that's going to have to be solved. And that's not going to be cheap or easy process by any stretch. The other thing that we've been talking about is just we're small resource and other things become priorities as they happen. Is looking at placing additional restrooms in the park area over towards the one that apartment.
Updating facilities next door too.
Yeah, that's in this budget. Yeah, that's in this budget.
But that is a capital expense.
Yeah, and that's not going to be nearly as expensive as either. So I mean, the pool thing we're going to be talking about easy 7 figures, and then the other one is looking at. I have no idea, but even 6 figures without problem breaking that low even.
Well, what was provoking this question is, reading your report, we have something like $1 3/4 million in cash more than the last budget. And I'm just wondering, is there a point where we could take some of that excess money and start paying down some of this long-term debt? doing a cost benefit analysis, I mean, generally speaking, you don't earn on what you got at the county, what you're paying out for this long-term debt. And when does it make sense to start, maybe incrementally using some of that extra money to, reduce the interest expenses?
I don't disagree. I think I can't speak for the board, but these are things that we've actually brought up kind of in the past. The monkey wrench that we got thrown into this year is with this project out behind the pool building and waiting on to see if FEMA is going to fully accept that or not, because I assume that's going to probably creep very close to 7 figures when it's said and done as well, and that's the repair work has to be done.
7 figures all paid by the district or paid by FEMA?
Yeah, well, that depends if FEMA picks it up or not. So I'll get into if FEMA picks it up, their total contribution part would be like 93%. So they'll pick up the vast majority of it. If they don't pick it up, it's on us.
So, keeping our eye on that.
Yep.
If we get fortunate enough to have them for all of this, then maybe that's the time we can start looking at, cost benefit.
Yeah, I think that was something that Eric and I had talked about previously, once the audit is done, seeing how much we have, what we have, and what we can do without planning.
Well, we talked about it in this forum too, and really kind of utilizing services of a financial government, public agency financial professional to then look at what are these debts and we're going to get the most bang for your buck. Does it make more sense to start applying more on an annual basis towards paying down your OPEB debt, or does it make more sense to start a similar type of trust intended to pay down your pension debt? So it's kind of
I appreciate it. I'm not trying to continually bring up the same topic over and over, but I'm going to attend the here.
We appreciate all of the comments and input for this, because that was the one thing that we were all very sad, besides the Senate facing us having our Christmas office.
Well, thank you. Good to be back.
And you were free to go. There's less fireworks now, they're kind of boring, but, all right, do you have anything else, Jeff, that you want to bring up?
No, that's
Okay.
fine. Glad to make one very quick comment. I've been back for a couple of days, I walked away, and I love what's happening over in the open space and the maintenance facility. Looks really good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, I think we can remain for the board that started that. All right, anybody else have any more questions about the audit? Okay, we are moving on to the Marin County Grand Jury Report, which was given to us about the more EDUs, to increase Marin's housing supply. Approved and authorized district manager to submit response on behalf of Marinwood CSD. So we're looking to approve this.
moved.
Eric, do you want to say something?
No.
Before we- okay.
No, all I would really say is really this entire report doesn't apply to our agency, and I think if they had the ability to do more research, they would understand that we don't post the types of fees that this report is focusing on, probably would have left us out of the entire report. But they didn't have that time, and we got named as like every other fire agency in the county, and my response, I think, reflects our position as an agency. That said, this is a response on behalf of the board, so if there's any change there, I think by all means, let me know. Otherwise, I think just sweet, short, to the point. It really is not applicable to us. We won't be doing what they recommend because we don't have those fees, and we can neither fully agree nor fully disagree with the one finding they asked us to respond to because we don't get information beyond as what they presented to the board.
It's not what I would have written, but it's legally probably what we should write, so I understand we don't do that. We don't do that, but I agree, I understand why you wrote it as you did. All right, all those in favor of approving the Marin County Jury Report response on behalf of us?
Yeah, other than the fact that the idea that extra expense would be a disincentive to building property, which makes an enormous amount of sense. I'm not quite sure I understand the answer, but it's all you can say. I mean, there's no response. You have to say,
We have to respond, yeah.
but you have to say, we don't.
On the findings, you have one free option. You can wholly agree, you can partially disagree, or you wholly disagree. Those are the 3 responses you're allowed to give in accordance with penal code when it comes to these jury reports. So since I chose partially disagree because it was the only thing that was kind of in the bill, because I don't think we're educated enough to do either wholly agree or wholly disagree with this particular finding.
Right. And we don't actually have the district have these.
I understand, but let's just say you're purchasing a house and you start saying, well, we're going to start charging you guys money for you to purchase a house in our community. Would that be a disincentive to you? Would that make you feel less out to purchase a house? Depending on how I feel.
I mean, there's fees in every neighborhood, so I would assume there would be a fee for
Some
every.
of the answers are difficult. I apologize.
Yeah, when we were buying houses, there was all sorts of fees, so I was just like,
What's one more?
What's one more?
It's really the building fees, it's hookups,
Yeah, I
the
think-
water, the sewer, all the hookup fees. It's
I think it's
being
the-
gouged by the government, that's all.
that's a fee when you decide to build something later on, it's not when you're purchasing, it's just
Right,
after you
well,
purchase, so you,
our district doesn't charge anything, it's the county that screws everybody.
yeah, we don't pay any taxes.
Sorry if
like that.
screw is a particular word that should not be used here, but.
I used to lapse last time, so we're in slang mode together. All right, all those in favor of approving this?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, moving on to number 3, the district manager report. Okay.
Sure, we talked about it a little bit. FEMA, so on July 31st, we had a team of 4 different people from FEMA that came through for what is their official site inspection. These are the people that take all the measurements, so they really survey and document the damage at hand. Then they run up the ladder, and those people do what they do with it, and eventually use a third-party company to try to come up with cost estimates for it. Myself, along with our 2 of our engineers, attended this as well. And we certainly said, our experience, especially these last couple of years, is estimates are all fine and dandy, but when you have to go through the public works sealed bidding process, the cost is what the bids come in at. And we have found that engineering estimates have not met what the bids are coming in at. They've often been far reduced, so all these things are important to keep in mind. I just got notice from another FEMA person who has entered the fray today via email that I haven't previously met or communicated with in any fashion, that he wants to come out and do another site visit for these same purposes, so I responded, and we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully we start to get some answers from FEMA. I have no indication at this point, especially on creek embankment work, that any of this is not acceptable. They were questioning some of the damage to the building itself, so hopefully maybe this little second visit will resolve some of that. The issue with FEMA is you have 2 components of FEMA funding. One is cost to repair to pre-existing condition, and then you have what's known as mitigation funding, which is the cost to improve and or repair in a manner so that it helps prevent future occurrence. I.e., if we just put a bunch of dirt again on the creek bank, the next high water, that dirt's just going to wash right out again, which is why we're going with this engineered fix instead. And our proposal for the building is to use a waterproof membrane, which will actually be part of this much larger project anyway. And they are questioning that a little bit because there wasn't a pre-existing membrane. So I'll fight that out and see what happens. And all things considered, this is actually very much much smaller and less expensive component of the larger project. I don't anticipate it costing that much, but to be safe, in the RFP that we are drafting right now, we've actually listed that as an additional alternative, so that way we can have a total breakaway cost just for that component. We'll know what that is as well. I guess our goal, I'm hoping desperately we can get there to finalize the RFP and get it out, even though FEMA hasn't fully approved the plans, but get the RFP out tomorrow by end of day. And it'll have about a 3-week turnaround time on bids, and hopefully we can get some more notice from FEMA. Just because we go out, we get bids, doesn't mean we have to actually accept a bid or move forward immediately with the work, and it also doesn't mean we can't rescind the RFP and put it back out if FEMA comes back. So I mean, the kind of key thing to keep in mind that I wrote here, and what is, in all honesty, the biggest challenge besides doing the actual work is coordinating between what is no fewer than half a dozen different agencies involved in this. So you've got FEMA, you've got the county, both of whom have to approve the plans, and then you've also got all, you've got the Department of Fish and Wildlife, you've got the Army Corps of Engineers, you've got the Regional Water Quality Control Board. I mean, so you got to get all of these agencies to agree. Yeah, so that's the challenge. That's why it's great that we have these contracted engineers who are really kind of managing the project, and I'm doing my best to manage the management of the project in coordination with all these different agencies in FEMA and the county. Although I will say our primary engineer, Matt Smeltzer, has had a lot of interaction with the county. He's very familiar with the county, does a lot of work locally, knows the people of the county. The county's actually hired him to do work on county lands. He's been a big help in all of that. We've actually submitted the plans for permitting with the county just last week, so hoping to get that initial feedback. But the bottom line is, we're kind of at a point in time where I can't just sit here and wait for FEMA while they get a drag on this. We have to keep moving, because if we want to get this done before the next rainy season, the work on the creek embankment at a minimum in the creek channel has to be completed by October 31st. That's a hard stop set by the Environmental Regulatory Agency. So that's why we're pushing so hard to get this out. And I desperately want it out tomorrow, because I will be gone as of Thursday, and I won't be back until after the following week. So I'd like this to be out there. You need enough time for contractors. We do know some that actually do this type of work. So we will not only be blasting it out the way it has to get blasted out, but we'll be sending it directly to, this is really kind of a specialized job on creek bank work. And there's not a lot of people that can do that. This isn't totally building. So it's, we'll see. But that's what that is. Any questions on that? Before I move on to the other two things that we agreed.
So just so I understand, we're sending out for bids for, as it stands now, FEMA comes back and wants changes, do we cancel that and start the clock all over
It
again?
depends on the scope of the changes. We can always release what's known as an addendum, and that is clearly stated within the things, and as long as you put it out with enough notice, you don't have to restart everything. Now, of course, if they come back and say, no, your entire proposal isn't what we will accept, or anything, I don't see that coming from the Environmental Regulatory Agency, because we have a lot of consistent communication with them already. But if we have to change the scope of what's being proposed, then that's not an addendum. That's an entirely new set of engineering plans.
But that's also why you did it as alts to have like.
Well, the one piece of it, yes, but the rest of it, they go hand in hand. I mean, the creek channel and creek band work feeds right into the retaining wall work. I mean, these are designed to absolutely complement each other. They're not mutually exclusive. You can't do the wall in one way and then not do the bank repair the way that we're also proposing. So the geotechnical engineer has been working tightly with Matt, our other engineer, and their plans are really one. So what we're looking to do, and what we don't want to do, is break this up into 3 different bidding processes. This is going out as a single RFP, and it'll be up to the general to sub out the different parts of it. Retaining wall is a retaining wall. That's not that hard of a thing to do. It's the main contractor we're going to need is the one with the knowledge behind the creek bank work, because you're talking about dewatering the creek, moving in a lot of heavy material, brick wrap holders, large pieces of wood stabilized. Just you need. There's not a lot of groups out there that do that kind of specific work within a protected creek channel.
Straightforward.
I guess my question is, if FEMA says no to the water membrane, I personally would like us to still look at that, vote it and see, because if our engineers think it's a good idea to help us prevent, I would want to do that, considering we have a pool right there.
I would strongly encourage it to continue to be done. That's also why we're breaking off, because you can choose to accept that, you can choose not to accept that. The majority of the work needed to do that is going to be done anyway, because you have to excavate all that out and then put it in the wall, the retaining wall. So all of that extra work has to be done, and then just the part of putting in this membrane and sealing it appropriately, and then you start doing the backfill anyway. So it's not like you're doing any extra excavation, because of this. All the excavation has to happen regardless.
And people will not have a problem with us paying for the extra.
No, they just won't reimburse that
Okay,
portion.
that's fine.
But we'll also be able to show them what that portion of the cost
Yeah.
is based strictly on.
That's fine, I just want to make sure I didn't put that.
And I don't assume that to be large, relatively speaking. I mean, I honestly have no idea what this thing. It could be anywhere from 600 to a million.
Okay, that's what it is.
Okay, just kidding.
It's what it is, right?
It is
You
what
can't
it is.
argue with the cost of labor and the cost of materials, you just unfortunately.
Well, this is a specialized project.
Yeah.
Access is tricky, dewatering is tricky, environmental standards are tricky. Again, this isn't. This is a complex project.
Okay, any other questions? Do not fair keep going with the other items, the special tax assessment being offered?
Those are just little items of note. Special tax assessment, just to update you all that we've completed that process. I'm waiting on the final reports from the county, but my initial figures show that we will receive slightly more revenue than what we budgeted for. This happens every year because we don't know what the tax rolls are when we do the budget, but based on square footage, based on total units, those numbers always tend to go up year over year.
Speaking of ADUs, does the county inform us when people put in ADUs onto their property?
The county does 2 different things. A, they inform us when somebody has applied for a permit to construct an ADU, and then eventually once it is done, it goes on to the tax rolls. They're actually known as units. So because our part is based on per unit.
Correct.
So that's saying ADU, I would actually add a unit to a person's property.
So it's done once a year?
Once a year.
Okay.
And then it goes to the applicable tax year.
So when it's complete?
What's that?
When it's complete.
When it's completed and the permit has been closed. Permit approval, right now for ADUs is simply a ministerial thing. As long as they have all their setbacks and everything in mind, then it's a rubber stamp permit approval, because the state has deemed it to be. So it's just a ministerial approval on it. But yes, and then the square footage comes through, because it adds square footage of living space, and then it also comes through as an additional living unit. I think in all of Marinwood right now, there's like a dozen registered legal ADUs, so a dozen properties that have 2 living units on for all of our tax properties. For now, and then we also have, because we don't have apartments or apartment buildings or anything like that on a single parcel. And that said, there is also, I am sure, a percentage of non-conforming ADUs, meaning they converted their garage and never permitted it, so the county doesn't know. It's not my job, nor would I ever encourage the board to start going around looking at their house to see if they have an illegal accessory
Nope, I'm
dwelling.
out.
Yeah, but They will let us know, we'll show up. One thing I will say is like this new development that's happening on the corner is 28 parcels. 22 of those parcels are also going to be including ADU, so that'll jump that number up a lot. And then on the other 6 parcels are scheduled to be duplexes, so those will also have 2 living units per parcel on them as well. So you're looking at an increase of 56 living units plus all the square footage. Let's just say they're not building small houses on the hillside there. Their fire tax goes by square footage. But right now, they're still being charged for undeveloped acreage. And then this was just a small update on California Water Right Act, just because I brought it to your attention a couple months ago. That one of the big cases that has kind of been proceeding through the smaller courts has been picked up by the Supreme Court. CSDA is tracking and following this. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of this. But the one thing that everybody's kind of hoping comes out of this, one way or the other, is that you actually have some court decision precedent that basically carries the weight of law as to needs to go from at-large elections, which a small district like ours currently does, to moving into district-based elections like larger cities or counties do. And a lot of this, they have to define how they're going to decide what that is. Is it basically based on a certain percentage of minorities that live in our underrepresented communities that live within an area? Again, I'm not worried about this for Marinwood in any way, shape, or form. Our legal counsel's not worried about this for Marinwood, but it will be nice to have some clear definition from the court and be able to set some legal precedent rather than somebody just dropping lawsuits on everybody and saying, give me my $37,000 or let's go to a very expensive trial.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Thank you, very thorough. Just keep us updated. All right. Moving on, sorry.
Just a question, is this intending to allow special districts or smaller districts to move back from the presidential elections to their own site?
No, what this has to do with is going from an at-large election where basically everybody has an equal vote for all candidates to going to a district-based election where you subdivide your jurisdiction into 5 separate distinct districts.
I see.
Not like how the board of supervisors all represent a specific district,
Right.
geographical district. So this is a geographical thing, and there's been a lot of push lately to move from at-large, forcing people to go to district-based. All counties are already required to do it, and all cities above a certain population were already required to do it. The issue is you have a law firm in Southern California that has been basically targeting public agencies up and down the state, sending them a letter that states, you need to do this, and what they've kind of found is that at a minimum they settle out of court for $37,000 in their legal fees, as well as switching to a district-based election, or taking a trial, and trials quickly get up into 6-7 figures. So this one case is actually going to be very beneficial to every public agency. What it might wind up doing is create a standard that allows some of these agencies that settle to then go from district back to an at-large election, especially in more rural areas.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Again, Joe, I'm sorry. All right. Is there any other public? No. We're moving on to fire department matters. I don't think we need to read through, but does anybody have any questions about the draft minutes from the fire commission meeting or chief officer report and activity summary? And on that, okay, so we'll go first for the draft minutes. Does anybody have any questions about what's written, and does Kathleen have a chance to make a statement about since she was there?
Nope. It's pretty exciting. No, the only other, no, not on minutes, but the report, I would say, I would encourage everyone to go look at the website, the MW, what's the other?
MWPA.
Thank you, their website. They're putting a lot of effort into what they're doing and why it's such a good thing, because we're halfway through it, and so pretty soon it will be on the ballot before we know it, and they're really trying to show what our money is going to. So I would encourage everyone to go check that out.
Yeah, I'll give a brief update when we get the chief officer report further.
And you're there.
Any other comments on the minutes?
No, not a minutes. Jeff, would you like to have any comments on minutes?
He is a former fire commissioner.
I know, but that's when I was an alternative on the fire commission. No, never mind. I'm doing that. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, I just play up a little bit with what Kathleen said, and the NWPA is certainly trying to showcase some of their accomplishments. Bill might have more to say about this. One thing we did share at the commission meeting, and I pushed it out after the fact, is their executive officer, gentleman named Mark Brown, who, by all accounts, has done a fine job as kind of the founding EO of this, as well as their current board chair, who's actually County Supervisor Dennis Rodoni, wrote a letter to the IJ that was published, really highlighting the work that they are doing in working with state level agencies as well as insurance agencies in addressing some of the challenges that homeowners are currently facing with getting their homeowners insurance canceled because they live in high fire danger areas. California is especially hit hard with this, so if you haven't had a chance to see that editorial, I strongly encourage you to read it because the others they're making are vast and impressive. Otherwise, that's all I really had to add on to that. If there is any other specific questions about the chief report, I'm happy to take stuff answering them, or I can forward them on to the chief and to do a response later today.
And like clockwork, we are under 6 minutes, he's still impressed.
Yeah, the only other fire update I would give is, I know I brought this up a meeting or two ago, just on some of the challenges of hiring. We actually do have a candidate firefighter paramedic in the pipeline right now. He's scheduled to go next week for a second interview, which is a chief panel interview. So fingers crossed that continues to work out. But he made it through our initial interview, and we all definitely want to keep moving this person in the process. So we are moving in the process, and we'll see what comes of it.
Is this the person who's concealed?
No,
Oh.
no, this is a firefighter paramedic with experience on the side of the equation.
That's good, so there's 2 people. Or thinking, there's one there.
Yeah, right now we have one.
Okay.
Sorry, I have a question. So after that interview, what's the process after that?
After that interview, then they move on to what's known as the chief panel. So they interview with the chief, or so the chief designees. This particular one will happen with the deputy chief, because she plays out down with the county chiefs. And then from there, they'll kind of provide us with ours with their feedback. If we're also feeling comfortable about this, we will initiate a formal background investigation and check on the person. As long as those things come through, we will then give them a conditional offer, asking the fingerprint, they'll go down, take physical. And if all of that works out, we will bring them on board, and they'll be in a probationary period for at least up to a year.
And how long would someone take?
Background can take a couple weeks. You know, I mean, we use a third-party service, and this is a pretty thorough background investigation that they do. They've got former employers, they search all sorts of criminal records, writing. This is a thorough background investigation that is standard when you're bringing somebody to safety police. It takes a little bit of time. The chief interview is scheduled for next week, so that's good. And then I'll be back the day after that happens, so we will be able to finish relatively quickly, launch the background or relatively quickly, and then hopefully we'll keep moving.
Do you guys have any questions for the board? I actually let the chief know last month I was scrolling through my Apple News and I'm looking at these hills that are golden and firefighters, and I had to click on it and read it. It was a picture of our guys training out, these photos that he showed us in Renegade. It's different ones, but of them doing countywide training. It was the Guardian. talking about California wildfire, so I sent him out to shoot, and we had a chuckle over that before I got to guys, so. You have no idea who the pictures, because it was so zoomed out, it was kind of cool to see. I will work with the very end. Alright, Chuck, would you like to ask any questions?
Curious, in respect to federal position, how dramatically does that change the overtime and the bills coming from Centerville?
It's changed the overtime dramatically, not necessarily the bills from Centerville, because they've also had some staffing challenges as well, so we haven't been able to utilize their staff as often to come in and fill a spot. Compounding the problem is we've got a couple of midterm as well as now one long-term injury, and also particular personnel, so we have 7 people active. Right now, the long-term injury that we're dealing with is not having out of work. What the industrial injury that have on the job is going to keep this person out for 6 months before it's good.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, we're moving on to Parks and Recreation items. Alright, then, I don't think we can read it off, but.
No. Yeah, so we're supposed to have a couple things. We're coming to the close of our summer camp season. This is week 9 for us out of 10. And the summer's going extremely well. Very, very pleased with staff, with our enrollment, and it's been really fun and very, I won't say easy, it's been easy, but it's been very, it's been run very smoothly. It's been very smooth summer, and we're very grateful for Robin and our camp supervisor staff for allowing us to manage and train the staff and everything. Very much everything is, we're very happy about that. Next week is technically our session 10, but it's a much scaled down version of our summer camp. We don't have the staff or the facilities to run our full program. We put this together very last minute, and we found out there was an extra week of summer in the school district starting later than expected. So we're running 3 camps that are larger years, but we run a lot of our normal programs, and it should be really hungry, but it's a little bit scaled down, and we're looking forward to that. And then we're going to our summer camp program. The whole season continues on. That's going really well, and we go all the way through October 6th. And the hot weather for a lot of people schools these last couple weeks, and our school enrollment has been really good. Our camp program has been one of the strongest seasons we've had, so we're really happy about that. We just had our annual in-house lifeguard games where the lifeguard staff compete with each other on teams to show off their skills, and we've been training for all summer, and they've done really well, and it was really fun to see them all competing. I do jump ball already hired a lot of people here, and you would know it based on the rest of their skills. Definitely are actually like second, third, fourth year lifeguards in terms of the competency, so I'm very proud of them and having the staff. I'm currently teaching items on our board, but we have a lot of staff that recently gave me lifeguard instructor certification through the American Red Cross, and I do have that certification off that. So we're running our senior lifeguard staff and a few up-and-comers through that program this week, each day this week. Just a big week for me. And I teach 6 times a day, but it's been really good so far 2 days in, and after this, we'll have I think we'll be certified to be able to teach CDR lifeguard classes in summer, and when they're under the off-season, which will allow us to be able to train more people in our classes, and just a higher level of training our staff. So that's a really good thing we're really excited about, and so far it's been great. We're going to pass this week, and more chapters on staff. So Brewfest, our summer Brewfest was on July 22nd. And it was very nice. It was the hottest day of the year so far, and a normal hottest day, we were happy with that. But it was a great event, and we had a lot of great breweries, good music, good turnout, and full breakfast out of it. It was extremely fun. It was hot though. The first allowed was pretty cool. I think it was even at the end, just kind of saved us to do it.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Our next event is we had our third music award last Friday, which was really great. Got a lot of positive feedback about the band, a really good cover band, the Mercy and the Heartbeats, doing a whole range of great covers from lots of different popular music.
80 Nights and Beyond.
80 Nights and Beyond. And so it's really fun. We have one more coming up. A week from this Friday, we our last season in the park this year, so I don't remember a week from this Friday, so 2 weeks from last Friday, the 18th of August, our last one. And I don't have it written down who our final artist is, but it's on our website, and I'm sure it's a great show, so we'll get to that. We're switching gears right now in our department to focus on our fall season. The winter review's almost done. We'll be coming out in the next few weeks, highlighting all our programs in the fall and winter, and that's coming together. We're really excited. We've got some new classes for both adults and kids, and so that should be all those details very shortly finalized, and a lot of stuff's already on our website. We'll be opening registration for those very soon. Any questions about the recreation report from the parks maintenance?
I just wanted to chirp in about the Brewfest.
Yeah.
It was really good. Lots of people, a lot of kids. Can't believe that many kids drink beer.
I know it's
And then the turf on the north part looks awesome.
Yeah.
Starting to fill in. Yeah.
well, that's a great segue, Bill. Eric's got me. I'm just going to, before I move on to turf, there is a development in one of our fall programs that is worth noting. Our after-school program has been throwing a little bit of a curveball with the school district is, as of right now, not going to provide bus service to our program, which they have been doing in the past. Because due to a shortage of bus drivers, they are limiting the bus routes to just certain students in school, and they, as of right now, are not planning on taking kids from schools to our after-school program, which makes that very challenging for a lot of families that take advantage of our program. We are in contact with the families that were signed up for this year, and letting them know that, and finding out if that's a deal breaker for people, and just what our enrollment will look like if in fact if that bus service does not happen. We're in touch with the school district as well to figure out if that's going to change, if there's any developments on that, but as of right now we don't know what's going to happen. We know, as of right now, saying there will not be waiver kids who get to our program that were previously taking the bus to it. So
How many kids have you already signed up?
I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I think we had 20-something kids signed up for the program, and
90%, which
yeah, at least 90% which were taking the bus to get there. So
Is it from all three schools?
we were getting primarily Lucas Valley and Mary Silvera, or Lucas Valley, yeah. So we had one kid from every day for the walk, but the bus was, most of the primarily all the kids from those two schools, 90% coming on the bus. So we're working on that and trying to get, talk to parents, talk to school, and then we're not decided what's going to be the outcome of that as of right now, but we're just engaged with everybody and trying to develop a plan. So that has been right in the air as of right now, and that might be for the next meeting, so we'll work around all that.
I have that for the parents. That's a huge loop.
Yeah, and it's a week, 2 weeks before the schools.
Thank you so much. That's impacted all the schools too, not just after here. There's a lot of families that will be without us because we're counting on it.
Yeah, no, I knew that, but I was thinking about both bus and also not even do it. sorry.
Yeah, it's a huge problem for people. I'm hoping that they can figure something out to solve that. It's not something that represents as a permanent situation, but it's the present right now situation, and so we have to go with it. So
You know, anybody wants to be a bus driver?
It's not that simple.
It's not
It
that-
takes a long
I'm
time.
very
There
familiar
was
with
that whole
it.
email with
I'm
like
very
things.
familiar with the requirements. I've worked places that have bus drivers.
But I was glad that the district sent that out instead. Like it takes hours and hours and like months to become a bus driver, so it helped. It's not a quick fix. That's a problem.
And you need applicants. You know, they just can't get people to apply.
just as like a side, we had the local, some of the local bus drivers take their first aid certification classes from us historically. We've been certifying the district bus drivers for as long as I've worked here. They renew their first aid bus, not bus, but they choose it. You know, we've been doing that for years. It's been the same people for at least as long as I work here. So I don't know
Well,
about that.
Rob retiring for the whole district for
Yeah, that's possible. Anything else on the front over to the parks maintenance report?
Yes.
I don't know what you there. So Bill mentioned the turf in the north end of the park. You know, I'm pleased to be able to report we were able to finally get the park turf sort of replaced after having that area be just covered in wood chips and once upon a time had all the shading containers and our old maintenance yard there. Finally starting to be able to return that back to its original park setting. We ended up rolling out sod because it's a hard time to grow grass from seed with the weather and everything. And it's looking really nice. We're trying to keep it watered as much as possible through these 90+ degree days. It's not ideal for growing new grass, but everything's looking really good. And we're excited to keep improving that area. So we're going to some irrigation, fixed irrigation in that area that had been capped and defunct. And we'll be adding in a walking path there and mulching the area and potentially another gravel wall pit will be down there. So that area will continue to evolve, but as right now we're saying the turf in is really nice. We unfortunate news, on July 26th, we discovered one of the slides that got missing in our playground, the main playground here. It was there the previous day when we left, and we showed it in the morning, and it was gone. Looks like it had been forcibly just kind of ripped off of the stands holding it there. There were some tools left behind. No idea where that is as of right now. We did file a police report. The sheriff came out and opened an investigation and took photos and whatnot. No information at the time, but we had staff secure the area. They boarded up the whole of the play structure where you start sliding down so that no one would fall off up there, and we removed all of the hardware from the ground so we didn't have hazards that were just running around. And, so that's where we're at right now.
You could just wait a few months and take it.
Yeah, it's interesting time with the playground projects. But, so hoping the playground needs to disappear in the next coming months. But
I did call the company to see if they would knock their full cost down. We already had one of the slides removed as part of the demo.
Can we save $100?
Yeah, and we cannot replace it because by the time we replace it, we'll be ripping it out. So unfortunately, the kids are down one slide.
yeah, it is unfortunate. I would like to be able to realize that just with the cost and timing, it just doesn't make sense.
We'll show up like the day before we do that.
And I'll understand make that slide
Yeah.
also. So I guess you're trying to that would be something custom to fit both parts of this thing area. Anyway, so that's unfortunate, but we'll do. And kids seem to still be doing the playground, thankfully. So no one was injured as a result of the missing slide. So. And lastly, just we've had some pests in the park this summer, and we've had a lot of last couple weeks. We've shown a huge increase in yellow jacket activity. I'm sure you've all noticed in your areas of the neighborhood. Staff have gone out and just made sure we have yellow jacket traps that are ready to go. We haven't had any issues at all summer, and all of a sudden we just kind of showed that nowhere. So with that, I've already witnessed an improvement here in the park at least. So with that, I think it'll be okay. And then the park's been like real goers this summer, and we've been constantly working at that. It's been the worst year I've seen since I've been involved in the parks. And talking to Argo, a big contractor, they said it's the worst season in recent history for the community season, whatever. So Gophers are all over the place, and they're just struggling to keep on top of it. So we're working, but it's really nice. Our turf is looking some of the best it's looked this winter summer ever, except there's Gopher holes everywhere, so it's everywhere. So there's green grass, but there's holes. So we're doing our best to try to abate that and keep those holes filled and make sure the string falling out there. It's been irritating. We're good grass season, but bad Gopher season. So upcoming projects, just going to continue the landscaping north of the park. We are going to be installing a memorial bench for Jim Juarez, horseshoe bits. That's going to start this week. The parks came in, we'll start to put that together, and then we'll be doing some upkeep out of the new park later this week and next week. That's all I'm going to touch on. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
I have one for Jim's bench. Do you know if we're doing? Do you know if they're doing anything? Like it would be like viewing or anything with Sean? Or do you just put it in and say it's in?
I've been in contact with Sean about the timeline and let him know that came in, and I clarified your location with him this week, and so I'll be in touch with this when it's going to be complete. So he might have something in mind for a reveal or ribbon cutting or something. I don't know, but yeah, I'll leave that up to the family.
And then are you taking out the one that's painted then?
No, there are no plans to move that or change that at all.
We're getting an additional place to sit.
All right.
It's not that.
The grass looks great,
I just want to show you.
and so did the sand underneath. I didn't know that you do that.
This summer's amazing. I've been super happy. I'm glad to be here for. I really enjoyed Music Park and I appreciate you guys staying late on those days to do it, and also being here for 6 hours training and then coming to our lovely meeting. So I have no other questions. Bill? No? Okay. Jeff, would you like to make a comment or have a question?
Just one short comment. I'm thankful that I don't have to take the yellow jacket thing personally. Whoa. I just got back like 4 or 5 days ago, and they're my best friends. You can't sit outside and do anything.
Yeah, it's not unique to the park. Before I was on the northern part of Marinwood, I lived there. I just woke up one morning, they're everywhere,
Yeah.
and very persistent. So
Okay. Our traps are full.
oh, yeah.
So my husband did some research. Apparently, all of our Marin and the surrounding areas, there's all of a sudden an explosion of yellow jackets. That's pretty bad this year. Because every time I try to set plates outside,
But it is research that one.
no. Unfortunately, that was where that ended. Nobody knows.
All right.
Okay. No other questions? Just lots of thank yous to Luke and to staff for everything they've done this summer, and looking forward to seeing the fall. Let's move on to H, board members' item of interest and request for future agenda items. Just updates from FEMA and firefighter and that's it. All right, if nobody has anything else, do you have a, okay. Well, no, would you like to put a member, item for future agenda items?
You're welcome to attend.
Thanks.
There you go. I guess we will adjourn. That'd be good stuff?
Yes.
Our next date for our next regular board meeting is September 12th, 2023, and we'll hear what the ensuing school year is going to look like for us.